right, y'all. Welcome back to Conflict and Clarity. This is going to be episode 5 for the WSP edition. Today, we have a return of Aries Alexander.
Yes, the best.
The best.
Period.
There
it is, Aries Alexander.
So, you came back. This was your first time back at the shop wrestling. For how long has it been since you wrestled at the shop?
It's been since April 20th of 2024.
Okay.
That was the last time I was there at the shop.
April
20th.
20th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you left on 420.
Yeah, I did leave on 420.
You left?
International Warfare.
Oh, wow. Did you leave because it was time to move on, or there were just like a few things that probably would have, kind of came with a little conflict?
Well, I would say that I was presented an opportunity, and I felt as if, right then and there was the time that I needed to, just go for it. And plus, I've already done everything there is to do at the shop at the time. Now there's a couple more things that I would say are on the to-do list. But at the time, I was like, you know what? It is time that I pursue this journey that I was about to go.
That's interesting. So you came back to the shop. What was it like to be back? Was it surreal? Did it feel like it was just yesterday you were there? What was that feeling like coming out?
I would say, I was a bit nervous,
if
I'm being honest. It was just, it's been some time. And I just, I was like, you never know with the crowd, because it always kind of rotates with people that are the new regulars, and then, you got a new batch, and it's just like, are they going to remember who I am?
What were there plenty recognizable faces there at the shop in the audience?
I would say there was a good handful.
Okay.
There was a good handful, but definitely a lot of new faces that I haven't seen there before.
Right, yeah. I've been only at the shop since this past summer in July is when I started kind of working with them with the summer bash program, and, all the way up until now. And you're back at the shop. It seems like sometimes people go away, but every time in pro wrestling, they always come back.
And you never know.
They always come back. Never say never in wrestling.
Yep, exactly.
Never. All the great returns like CM Punk and even Ultimate Warrior before his demise, he made that return right before.
It was that one Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. So, yeah, you can never say never. So if your favorite star is gone, they may be back. Most likely. You would always probably bet on someone returning.
I would say there's a good chance. Unless, unless there's bad blood.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't know.
Well, bad blood is, dude, everyone has bad blood.
Everyone has bad blood.
But guess what? That blood could get cleaned up and come back in,
Seeing who has thicker skin.
Yeah, it is like taken to like two negative numbers, like bad blood and bad blood. Mm-hmm. Two negatives make a positive sometimes. Right?
Sometimes.
Math, it does. Mm-hmm. So if you could try to put it in philosophically, it could probably work for you
I would say
on
so.
There. So coming back, you saw the audience, you saw the shop. Were there any kind of changes that kind of threw you off, or?
No, everything seemed the same. Other than, of course, a new camera roaming around. Usually we would just have somebody on a GoPro.
Oh, yeah.
Doing their thing.
Yeah, so last night, the news crew was there. They're filming a documentary.
Steven.
Yeah. So they had a couple of camera guys around and a guy with his little notepad. Mm-hmm. It kind of looked like someone from the dirt sheets back then that was writing like a little...
I know Oscar told me who that was, and I can't remember who exactly it was. But Steven, me and Steven got history. So it was cool seeing him there.
Oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. So you used to hang out or whatever. You knew him from different...
Well, I appeared on SA Live.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, they always have like...
Yeah, I got to beat up Steven.
Oh, cool.
And then he decided to show up at, I think it was at International Warfare.
Really?
Pushed me off a ladder through a door. And
then you're gone for...
And then I'm gone.
And then you're gone. And your debut coming back, guess who's there?
Yep, there's Steve.
There's Steve.
Yep.
Hi, how ironic. And he doesn't go to... every single show. So this one happened to be your return, and brought all the news crew out. The cameras were out, videotaping, taking pictures, and a guy writing down his little notes.
Yeah, that was, I would say, other than those things, everything else was the same.
Yeah, that's cool. So going back in, so how does the ambiance, like, let's say when you're interacting with the audience, or maybe, how I would say, the locker room, but how did it feel being back in? I'm sure there wasn't anything too harsh at first, right?
No, I wouldn't say so.
At least up front, right?
Up front. You know, that's another thing about this business. You never know people's true intentions.
Right.
But I would say at the time I was treated, with open arms and everything. There were a bunch of guys that I, see other places than the shop that were very excited to see me there.
Okay. So when we're looking at this, pro wrestling, you wouldn't be in pro wrestling if you didn't watch it when you were younger, right?
Yeah, of course.
When did you start watching wrestling?
I feel like it's a common answer for some reason, but I mean, I could just remember like when I was 7.
Yeah.
For some reason, that's as far back as I can remember.
What do you remember? Or
there's
snippet?
For some reason, like the oldest little memory that I could think of is SummerSlam, Edge versus Matt Hardy.
Okay.
For some reason, that's like the only thing that pops. When I try to think as far back as I can go.
What year was that around?
That might have been 2005.
Okay.
Might have been 2005. I could be wrong, but usually...
kind of like in that ruthless aggression era.
Yeah, usually I just ask Dill for all that. I say, Dill, there's a match that I'm thinking of.
He's like
when was it? And he'll have it.
He's a encyclopedia of knowing all those.
Yeah, he knows all of that stuff.
Man, I just can't remember dates and years and everything else. If time goes on, I forget. Like I can remember the moments, but where it's at, the location. People know the arenas, the cities. It's crazy how they can remember all these things. And I can't remember someone's phone number anymore.
I'm really bad with birthdays.
Yeah?
I can't remember birthdays.
I do have a hard time with that too.
Other than like my own, then no, that's about it. I can't remember anybody's birthday to save my life.
Yeah, there's something about that. It is hard. It's like, oh, I didn't know it was your birthday. Yeah. And then next year, I'll be like, maybe it's in October sometime. Is it early October, late October? Yep. And that's all you kind of got to go off of.
And then I just hear, oh, you forgot? Or how do you not remember this person's birthday? And I just can't remember it.
Right. Yeah, it happens right there. You think maybe it happened from getting knocked up a couple of times in the head in the ring?
That'll happen, and I've had plenty of those.
Oh, man. You ever gotten a concussion from?
Yes, I've had. Of course, they're all, they aren't intentional. Nobody intends on getting a concussion.
Right. No, but of course not.
There are some that you see coming and some that you don't.
Yeah.
And I've had a few, maybe like 1 or 2 that just happened.
I never had a concussion. So what does it feel like? What are the symptoms? If someone never had a concussion, what would they probably feel?
You definitely feel pretty bad after. But in the moment, I don't know if it's one of the symptoms, but for some reason, it almost feels like when you get deja vu.
Oh,
like you've seen it before. Like when you open your eyes from that blink, you're like,
you thought it already happened, but it's gonna happen.
Yep, and it just happened, and you're just like, whoa, and you're kind of out of it for a little bit, and then you go from there. I would say my only concussions have been in the ring.
Wow.
Just like a couple that I didn't see coming because they just slip up and fall wrong or whatever, and then I would say there was one that I did
And the next day, it's
next day is almost like a hangover a little bit. You're just like kind of still a little loopy.
Yeah.
Especially because you have to stay up for a while after receiving one of those. They say it's best not to go to sleep for a couple hours after one of those.
You have to go do the CT scan.
Yep.
And I'm sure that's not pleasant to do when you're
it's definitely not
throbbing in your head.
Yeah, it's not financially pleasant either.
No. So, people that ride their bikes or stuff should wear a helmet because it's not good to get a head injury.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a good investment because not the alternative sucks. Safety over style when it comes to those things. People sometimes pick style over safety. Look at the motorcycle people. they like the look without it, or they
They
feel
like
more
it.
comfortable.
Exactly.
But man, one error, it's gone. You're done. You know. Do you worry? Did you ever get like when you're in the ring? Do you get worried at all, like with certain moves, like oh, this might mess up my neck, or like oh, I don't like to do that move because
There's a few moves that, of course, I stay away from because I don't think I can like physically do them.
yeah,
Even though I don't try them, I just feel like that's a little much. Where I'm just like I feel like there's a lot more that can go bad with this move.
which move is that?
I used to do the 450 splash as one of my finishes.
Right. Wow.
And I've maybe only successfully hit it like 3 times out of like the 7 times I did it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes like knees first into the stomach, or just don't fully rotate, and sometimes you almost over rotate, and
Oh yeah.
there's just too many that can go wrong, especially now. Like I would say that when I started with that move, I was maybe about 50, 60 pounds lighter.
Okay.
So it was a little easier. Now I definitely wouldn't do it unless I really, really practice on it.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes, man, you just gotta keep it grounded, or do something more simple. Do something simple. Keep it simple. Sometimes, simple is good.
Yeah.
You know?
Temple's always safe.
It's safe, right? It's not always flashy, but it's safe, and you can live to do it again next time you get in a ring.
Exactly. I wouldn't do anything that I wasn't feeling comfortable receiving myself.
Oh, okay. Going into that, have you ever gotten injured and kind of thought, hey, I did everything I could have done, but maybe on the other end, it's like, dude, that sucks.
I haven't had many injuries other than the concussions. I think the only thing that I've had is like this one that I have currently with my knee, where I like hyperextended my knee, kind of locked out, maybe went a little further, and I was just,
How long ago was that?
a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yep. And it's still pretty bad. I'm still on a brace at the moment.
You still wearing the
Yep.
brace?
Still wearing the brace. I wear it just under my pants, so then I just feel I don't want that whole like, oh, he's in a brace, kind of like a little bit of pity.
Right.
I don't like it, so I try to cover it up as much as I can.
Do you have to go see a doctor and try to get something done? I know the expense of just to get help sucks.
Yeah, I'm giving it time to see like if it'll heal itself. But I mean, I'm sure there will be a point where I'm like, you know what, I need to get this checked out.
Yeah, to see if there's nothing that happened with the tear,
Yeah, but it isn't stopping me from getting in the ring. Like,
what drives you to get in the ring? I know, like you said, you watched it since you were 7. You gone up, you got trained, and have there been times like, hey, you stepped away, but you're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to get back into it.
It's all about trying to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that prey on your downfall, and sometimes you take that break and they feel like they won.
Yeah.
But you just need to push yourself to prove them wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And come back and really just it's something that has its personal reasons, and then it has its other reasons, and right now I'm just trying to be the best.
Okay.
So.
People, they like to build up heroes, but once they're built up, what do people like to do?
Bring them right back down.
Tear them down, right?
Exactly.
Bring them back to their level. How do you keep that happening to you?
It's when it comes to like,
when you're built up, you're like, you're up here. You're like, hey, I'm right here. But you can see, hey, there's some people, a collective, even in the crowd, people do it in the crowd, not just talking about other guys that you work with, but in the crowd, people want to start crapping on it because, people get tired of a certain same stuff.
Yeah.
So if you've been built up there, then the crowd that, help you get up there by rooting for you, they turn on you.
Exactly.
They get tired of you being nice. Or
what helps me is in one ear and then right out the other, because like I said, like we were talking about earlier, you had to have thick skin, and it's very easy to like let it get to you, and it'll really kill your drive.
I do see people, some guys, they get in it with the crowd.
Yeah.
They banter back and forth. They throw the middle finger up. They exchange some very colorful language to each other.
Most definitely.
And, how do you separate yourself from like, hey, this fan is trying to heckle you and you have this image to uphold, but also you're not going to let a fan try to punk you out. You want to say something to them or have a way to kind of drown them out. What's your take on it?
Well, when it comes to the crowd, it's just more of I guess it's all part of the show. It's one in one, right out the other. I mean, I'll throw something back at them, but they're more of they're going to just keep talking.
Yeah. You're going to put fuel. You're putting fuel in the fire.
Exactly. And why, just keep arguing with them? It's like you're arguing with a toddler.
Yeah.
Because it's always well, you're this, and it's, well, no, I'm not.
Right.
You're this, you're this, you're this.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, fine.
Yeah, and you can't really do anything coercive to them. So it's like, it just doesn't go anywhere. It just spins in a circle. And
exactly. I mean, if I'm going to go around calling myself the best, why am I going to be stooping to somebody else's level?
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of goes against what I'm going for here.
Do you have a certain type of fan that kind of like, when you see these type of fans? Is there like a certain one, like a type of person? Not saying anyone like individually at all, but just like a stereotype. What kind of fan is it, a stereotype? You feel like maybe they're there just to try to steal the spotlight and heckle.
Mm-hmm. It's the ones that think they know exactly what's going on in the ring, and they like to use, I guess, workers' terms and stuff.
Oh.
And that's no fun. You're taking other people out of it too. Those, I mean, of course, it's a performance. It's, we're here to put on a show for everybody. Why are you gonna try to ruin that for everybody else that's trying to watch? People want to be able to go out there and say all this stuff to the guy in there because they can't just do that out on the streets.
Right. Yeah.
So that's their way of feeling better about themselves. And then if you have somebody that's just trying to use the insider terms of like, oh well, he's not really hurt. That's a work, and he's just working you, and trying to like pretty much bring all the stuff, your personal stuff, out in there as well.
Right.
Like, oh, well, he's super nice outside of the ring, and just really killing it for everybody.
The good thing is I never seen it at the shop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so far I haven't seen it.
Yeah, the shop has more casuals. There are some hardcore ones, ones that follow and they mainly follow the town. They'll go to like EBW or down to Laredo, or sometimes to watch the shows because they follow the workers that travel to all the different organizations. But you'll have a lot of casuals. You'll have the families and different things, and sometimes you get teenagers in there, which is great.
Yeah,
that's that one kind of demographic that wrestling really hasn't had in a long time.
You either have full-grown adults or children.
Yeah. There's no, not since the heyday of the Attitude Era, NWO times, you had the teens. But it's cool to be able to see some teens now enjoying it. I think even too now, WWE is becoming way more mainstream than it ever has. Mm-hmm. So, and you're seeing a lot of the wrestlers too in movies.
Yeah. So
they see them like, oh wow, these guys are very talented. A wrestler that can do acting, know all the camera movements, where to face the camera, be able to perform in a ring, and it's all live. It's live theater with physicality.
Yep.
It really is. It's live. It's there. And you're under scrutiny with that magnifying glass to see, oh, where did you mess up? Did you mess up? Did you stumble on your words?
Yeah, and they'll let you have it.
Yeah. Did you forget your lines?
Yep.
Or whatever, wherever it is, or you don't know what you're talking about. Can't cut a promo, or
yeah, those are my favorite.
Yeah, or whatever you do in the ring and the moves.
Yeah. He's not really hitting him, stuff like that.
Yeah. It takes a lot, and just for me to, let's say I'm like reading off a lines off a teleprompter, it takes me a few takes sometimes, even when the words are moving, because I'll speed up or get in my head or get things twisted around. So it's really a art to be able to have all those words at the tip of your tongue and be able to let it out fluently with the audience, without the audience being like, oh, he's trying to think of what he's going to say or he doesn't remember this. When you're in the ring, you get a brain fog. What do you do to try to come back?
I usually give it time. I try to take my time when I'm, talking to people, like the crowd,
Right.
of course. I try to keep it slow. Not too slow where it sounds like I'm talking in slow motion, but I kind of want to see what kind of vibe they're giving back.
Right. Kind of give time to breathe.
Yes.
Take it in.
So it helps me a bit. Sometimes, you get too into it with the crowd and you just kind of,
You just run
then
wild
that's
with
when
it.
the fog comes in sometimes because you're like, what was my point? Like, what was I trying to talk about right
Yeah.
now? And that'll really throw you off. But
what's your tactic when you
my tactic
when you run
is-
into that brain fog?
I will try to bring up something about myself that'll just get them going
Okay.
until I can
Right.
think of what the main point is. Or I'll just kind of get straight to the end and just
Okay.
say like, all right, I'm done here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I work with Mike Bishop,
Okay.
Angel, and a few other guys on. We stopped the classes. We did basically character development classes. We were talking about how to structure, a promo, like just the basic foundations. I told them that this is only a foundation to go off of, that you're going to learn more, out there when you're experimenting around with it and, from wisdom from other guys or girls on there. But I talked, I think even Deal said something that, if you forget, you kind of take a deep breath and maybe fixate, look at someone or look at the opponent or maybe stare someone in the crowd. And then once it comes in, then say something.
Yep.
Kind of like a
I say
stare
those
down.
are some good ones.
Yeah,
That'll
stare
help.
down. Kind of stare.
Nah, there's some people
Take a
that
deep
I've
breath.
seen, they like to laugh for some reason. They would say their thing or whatever, maybe talk a little too fast, and
Yeah.
they'd kind of lose it. So they just kind of like chuckle and like laugh about it until they can kind of get back into it. There's a few guys that I've seen.
Do you think that tactic may be okay sometimes, but if it becomes
think-
too often, it's
If it has to, if your character is, like that, then I can see it. But if there isn't a good reason to laugh, why are you laughing?
right.
Like, let's say we were having a serious conversation and out of nowhere I'm just forgetting what to say and then I just start laughing.
Well, people do that when they're nervous. Then
That could be it too.
it's nerves.
Nerves. in front of
That's
the
what it is. It's a laughter. Sometimes it's a way to calm the nerves down. It's a coping mechanism as well. So that's probably what is happening. That's common. Nerves are going to happen.
crowd. Exactly.
When you're in a spotlight and you forget something, the nerves are going to hit. Now, do you keep your composure or do you let out a awkward laugh, I guess?
Yeah. That's better than just, cussing out the crowd.
Yeah, that's true right there. Man, what type of person are you? Are you an introvert, an extrovert?
I would say that I'm a bit of an introvert.
Okay.
That I kind of keep to myself. And it really takes a lot to, I guess, talk to people. I have to like be introduced by somebody I already talked to, and then I'll slowly ease my way.
Right.
It's a lot of trust issues when it comes down to it.
Okay.
It's like, I don't want to say something that they're going to be like, oh, I'm going to go tell this person, or I'm going to go tell that person. Because there's a lot of,
Yeah, in this business too,
in this
right?
business too. That's why I keep it real.
It's the
short and
gossip
sweet.
column, right?
Definitely.
Like,
It's high school. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
if wrestling doesn't work out, you can always work for a gossip blog, I guess,
Oh, definitely.
to do that. Man, so being an introvert, how do you get that itch to be out there in front of people?
So that's the thing. I don't really ever get it. I love the quote unquote sport
Yeah.
of professional wrestling, but as important as the crowd is to it, I don't really want to be involved with the crowd. I kind of just don't want to see. Like, I wouldn't talk to them before or after a show.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here to do my job, interact with you as needed, and that's it.
You know, I know that, you know, it's a personality. It's a comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what comfort zones does, right? It keeps us from moving up, punching through that glass ceiling. That's what the logo is kind of monkered off of. And when you get out of that comfort zone, you got to realize that the audience are going to be the ones that makes you money.
Yep.
Your fans are going to they're the ones that are going to pay you money, you know, for your time, for your pictures or merchandise on there. And sometimes you have to, you know, put on that smile. I mean, it depends on where you're at in, you know, storyline wise, what you're doing in the business. If you're portraying like a villain or hero or how you stand with the audience you're currently at. But I think, you know, if everything's kind of good, you know, you just got to get out there and force yourself to do it, you know.
Yep.
Are you wanting to keep going as a professional wrestler and trying to climb up the ranks in the indies and hopefully get on TV one day?
Well, that's the goal. I would hope that, you know, everybody that jumps into this business, you know, would like to pursue that route of moving up through their indies, getting maybe some extra time on TV, just,
Right.
you know, getting your face out there more and just making a whole bunch of money and then being able to do it for a living. I would hope that that's what everybody wants to do in this business. Because personally, I feel like if they're not, they're just taking up a spot.
Is that something you see where people
I
kind of they're content with what they got already?
I think people are too comfortable. Nobody wants to, I guess, nobody wants to move up anymore. They're just like, this is just, you know, a little weekend thing. I'll just do this every once in a while, just, you know, to let it out. But all they're doing is really just holding down the guy who really wants it. And I used to see that a lot in my first 2-3 years, where people who've been doing this for a long time just kind of, they already got to that point where they're like, I already know I'm not going to make it, or I don't really want to make it, so I'm just going to stay here and take up this spot and just kind of just talk down on all these new guys coming up.
Instead of like helping.
Exactly. And that's how it was for like the first 2-3 years when I was starting up.
Okay, where you started up at when it comes to interacting with all of them.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you're put in a position in desperation or you're backed into a corner, you're out of your comfort zone, that's where resilience kicks in. That's the best. You're going to get the best version of yourself when you're put in that situation, when you get out of the comfort zone. If you see all these successful people, not all of them, because some had it handed down to them, but a lot of them were like The Rock, $7 in the pocket, you know?
Yep.
When you get put in those situations or you're on the verge of doing something, you're taking that risk, because there's always, when you're going for a bigger risk, there's a big reward, but the failure is, you know, can set you back really far.
Yep.
But being put in that position, maybe if you fail, it sucks. But guess what? You know what it's like to fail, and you're not afraid of it again. So you give it another try on there. It's just sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone. And I know most people are not going to do it on their own until a circumstance calls for it.
Exactly.
And have you ever had that where a circumstance called for you to really step it up and get out of that comfort zone and take matters in your own hand and really prevail?
I would say that every time I, you know, even do a show, that's me getting out of my comfort zone. I just, like I said, I don't want to be around people, but the passion and the will for wanting to be successful is what's keeping me, you know, going.
Do you get any kind of rush from the people's feedback, or their, you know, when you're wrestling, the loud noise, the chants, whatever, clapping?
Yep.
Does that fuel you, or do you kind of block it out because you're not really a people person?
I think the booing is what kind of really gets me like going.
Okay.
For some reason, it's just, I think it's because I dislike people so much, that because of how wronged I've been so many times, that just kind of actually hearing it just makes me it just keeps me going. It makes me.
It's a motivation.
It's definitely like a.
You want to
huge
prove.
motivation.
You always want to prove them wrong.
Exactly.
On there. Where did all this come from with this? I don't know, being wrong or needing to always prove yourself. How far back does that go? Does it go back way before wrestling?
I would say it started like about a year or two before I started wrestling. Just, how it was in life.
How old are you at that time?
I believe I was about 16, 17.
Okay, that's very natural because you're a teen trying to become an adult and
hearing people's, true feelings and really seeing what it's like to be like backstabbed.
Was it by your friends or by some people that should be more caring and nurturing for you, like,
it was both.
Mentor or anything like that?
A lot of friends that I thought were like super close.
Yeah.
Are the first ones to really stab you in the back. And it really it kills you. It happened more than once. I would say it happened to me about 3-4 times.
Different occasions?
And different occasions. And every single time it was...
They're not even affiliated with the same group, like different setting.
Exactly. And it's like that next group is always like, oh, well, we're not like them.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did.
What's a common denominator between all these outside of them stabbing you in the back? What is something that initially, I guess, attracted you in to hang out with them?
It's just common interests, really.
Yeah.
And then, just kind of slowly trying to ease my way back into, people try to ease back into like their relationship. Ease back into
getting back out there in the world. Yeah, get back in the world. Get back in the world.
It was like that just with everybody.
Yeah.
It was like, can I talk to this person the way I want to talk to them? And they're not going to talk to somebody else about it. And it was like that every time. And that's why I got this Hanged Man tarot card. It's because I'm the one that keeps making all the mistakes. And I, for some reason, can't learn from them. Because I always come back to making the same mistake.
All right. Do you think on your part there's any responsibility of why they stabbed you in the back?
I mean, I guess...
If you were looking for their justification, even if it's the most messed up justification, what do you think they would... Probably the reason for it?
I would say there's bits and pieces where I would have to, I guess, put on that face of I'm not really into this, but I really want to, have a friendship with somebody. So I'm willing to kind of go with it.
Yeah.
And, of course it's being fake, but it's what helped me kind of keep to being social.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you're not very social, that it kind of really kills you in terms of trying to find motivation.
Right. Are these guys, your friends, are they extroverts or introverts like you?
I would say they've been a mixed bag. Sometimes
bag?
There's a few introverts. Sometimes there's all extroverts.
Because I know introverts is usually you're just hanging out in a small group all the time. That's how I am with my friends. We all just hang out in a small group all the time. It's not really us going out to look for a party. It's just
That's one thing I can't do. I just can't go out.
Yeah.
I don't know. They would always ask. They'd be like, "Oh, well, you want to go to this club? You want to go to this bar? You want to go to this area that's gonna have a whole bunch of people?" And I'm just more of a, "No, I'm good," because the world's a bit dangerous.
Yeah.
You never know who's having that bad day.
Yeah.
And then you get caught in a crossfire of something.
And alcohol doesn't make people make the best decisions when they're not in the right state of mind to be drinking.
Exactly.
That's a scary thing. It's a scary world. You could be doing whatever and you could get caught up in something. Mm-hmm. But, you can reduce your chances by avoiding certain, I guess, activities that where it can increase those chances on there.
But I think it also is a double-edged sword because you don't get to meet more people.
Yeah.
You kind of stick to this small group, and it's like they want to go and be with more people.
Right.
And you're kind of hurting yourself by just being like, "Oh, I don't really want to go out in a setting like that." And I feel like that's probably one of the reasons why eventually, people separate. Because it's like, oh, well, you're kind of not really holding me back, but it's like I can't really do what I want to do.
Right, like an anchor to them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
almost like an
a
anchor.
drag on them.
Exactly.
It's like, I want, more to it. And then that's where you felt stabbing it back on there. It's the older we get, we have less like close friends,
Yeah.
and that's probably for good reason because you don't have time for petty friendships,
Exactly.
You by the time when you're old enough, you'll know who's true and loyal and who's not. And you'll know like the differences between acquaintances and friends. And that's the thing I think we sometimes do is we get too close to acquaintances and it's like, nah, they're not, they're acquaintances, not your friends.
Exactly. And that's what I think it was around the second time I came back
Yeah.
that it was just, you guys are just acquaintances. I don't even want to talk to you after the show. If you want to talk to me, we can talk, like, if we have a match coming up, then maybe you can shoot a few messages, we'll talk about it. But I was like, no, we're just acquaintances because, especially in this business, you definitely don't know who you can trust because that person tells another, which tells a promoter, and then you're not booked there.
Okay. Speaking of trust and acquaintances and friendship, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about this new development of Venom Inc. And we'll explore what that is like for you and maybe what it's like for the future. I don't know. Maybe we'll get a little pinch of the future here.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Act 2 on Conflict and Clarity. We got a little heavy.
A little bit.
Yeah, pretty heavy there, okay? But what may become even heavier is the presence of Venom Inc. Cobra showed up after your match and presented you a shirt. Okay? You happily decide to represent it. Okay? What is going on? I thought you were seemed like you're like a lone wolf kind of guy, but now you're kind of... Cobra is a very outspoken, loud person.
Most definitely.
How do we find someone like you being teamed up with him? Why are y'all running together?
I would say we both have the same interests in mind. We're both trying to, just like I talked about earlier, how I was like, some people just don't have the drive to want to do something in this business. And they're like, well, we'll stay comfortable. He's one of those that wants to move on up there. And I'm also one of those. And it's just, we have common interests. We both see things kind of the same way in terms of like all the bad stuff we hear about us and how we're being held down in certain places. And we just kind of like, it just kind of linked right there.
Okay.
For some reason. I mean, we hated each other. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
We hated each other at the shop. I would say in 2022, almost all 2022, it was just both of us just at each other's throats every single time. And I believe it was at a show in Houston, Loco Wrestling.
Okay.
Where I faced him in the main event for his Loco championship. That I kind of like, he kind of earned my respect a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had like hardcore matches before, but just this felt different. This felt like I got the real Cobra, and not not who I faced in 2022.
Okay. What's the difference?
I feel as if in 2022 he really just wanted the people to love him so much that he would put on a face. That he felt as if he needed that. Like, he needed the attention. He just needed that acceptance of like, oh, please tell me that I'm the best one here. I do this for you. And I'm the opposite. Hate's a strong word, but I dislike everybody in the crowd that it just isn't for me. Like, if you don't like me, I don't even want to hear from you. So those were the clash. I felt as if he was just putting on a front in front of everybody, and it just drove me crazy, and that's why I wanted to really just eliminate him from the shop, and which I did after our no disqualification match where he tried to take my Lone Star Championship.
Okay.
I put on the stipulation that if he lost, he would have to leave the shop, and I won. So he left the shop.
How long? Well, he's back. How
Didn't
long
last long. It was the next show that he was back on the show. I guess.
How'd that happen?
It was just a business decision, I would say.
A business decision.
Yeah, that I felt as if maybe the higher ups felt like we need him. Aries is great and all, but we need Elijah. I mean, look at the crowd.
Right.
Look at the way they love him. And it's like I said, it's still just like stuck to me that I'm like, you really think that he cares? That these people love him that much? That he's fake? That it drove me insane. But when I started watching what he was doing around, like it was this year, a little bit of last year, he was more himself. He really let everything out. The way he really felt about people, the way he really felt about the promotions and the politics and just all the bad that's in this business. That's what really connected with me, because I'm like, okay, you're finally showing who you truly are. And that's where I kind of really wanted to test him.
Yeah.
So when I went on his, let's say his turf over in Houston, because he was really making himself known over there,
Okay.
I decided, you know what? I'm going to do what you used to do, and I'm going to take this crowd from you, and they're going to be mine, and you're going to have nothing here in Houston. And we just, completely destroyed each other that whole match, and he came out victorious, something that he couldn't do at the shop. Every time he would face me, he'd lose. Every single time, lost. Yeah. I would say we faced each other maybe 4 or 5 times, lost every single time. And he was able to finally beat me in Houston, and it earned my respect. And that's why now I feel like with Venom Inc. and everything, that now that we can both be who we truly want to be, I feel like we're unstoppable.
Is Cobra why you came back to the shop?
I would say yes and no. He's part of the reason, but I watch the product. I watch the shop.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not at the shop, I was at Dog Pound. I would still see on social media what was going on, who's facing who's champion, who's not champion, seeing if it could really live up to what it used to be when I was there.
Yeah.
And I felt like, no, it changed, and not necessarily for the better in regards to like who's champion now and what kind of matches we're getting.
Yeah.
I feel like I needed to bring back what made the shop the greatest show in San Antonio.
What did you do by doing that?
Well, I did what a lot of people haven't done in this business, and I held
What's that?
every single championship in the shop. And a lot of people hated me for it, and I think it just helped push me
all at
more.
The same time?
All at the same time.
All at the same time.
Even the tag team titles by myself.
Did you have like people come out and help you carry the titles to the ring?
I would carry them all myself, and then I would have the announcer come in and grab a few. I'd have the referee come in, grab a few, and just hold them there while I'm, just showing everything.
Is that the goal for you to get back to something like that?
It definitely is one of the goals.
Yeah.
But I think the motive is different now. I think in 2023, I did it for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like in 2024, I need to do it for the shop.
Okay. Was the shop missing?
Well, I'll tell you what it was missing. It's me.
Yeah.
It was missing me. And I mean, I want to say not to toot my own horn, but every single match that I was having in 2023, the people really felt something. They really were drawn to it. I made every single belt like the main event belt.
Okay.
Because I had all of them. So they had no choice but to be in the main event spotlight. Now, sometimes you don't even see them, or they're so low on the card that people forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or their person holding the belt is maybe, let's say, just not champion material.
Okay.
And I mean,
Do you feel that way of any like people currently holding titles right now at the shop?
I feel like the bad thing about it is that I can't really remember who's champion, and I think that's a horrible thing to think about when you think of a promotion is, well, who's champ? Like right now, I can't even remember what belts we have other than Benny's.
Yeah, we have.
And then we have Red. I think
Red's
has
a world champ.
He has a world championship.
That was just recently brought. I think actually you came back at the Rumble, right?
Yes.
That's when you originally came back. So last night wasn't. I mean, I guess singles
a
and
singles
ring
debut.
Yeah, more official. That time was kind of like a a cameo.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. If you win, you're gonna stick around. You're definitely gonna stick around.
Oh, definitely.
If you don't, you could work something out and maybe come back.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a Rumble. Anything could happen. I just felt as if my odds were pretty high since.
How did it feel coming out to the Rumble? Like when that buzzer hit and you came out to the shop? This is the first time you've been in the shop in a while?
Yeah, in about 6 months.
Yeah.
That's when I originally felt like, are these people going to know who I am?
Right.
Are they going to remember at all? And when I came out, I mean, there was a good a little more than a handful that were, up and,
right.
Excited to see me. A lot that, didn't know who I was.
If you're an introvert, you don't really care about the fans. Why would you care about if they recognize you?
It was more of is the business even going to want me back if the crowd doesn't care?
Okay.
So I needed it only in terms of if I come out and it's silent, the person running this place is going to be like, well, why do we even have them?
Yeah.
There's no reaction. So I personally didn't need them, but in a business standpoint, I felt
good for business.
Yes, I needed that.
Did you get that? Was it fulfilling enough?
I would say it was enough to have them bring me back.
Yeah.
So I would say it was successful.
That's good. And, you're always you're going to get more fans that are going to come in and learn more about you. Mm-hmm. And that's why we do these shows right here to kind of spotlight and people can get to know you more. And you don't only just wrestle at the shop. What other places do you currently wrestle at?
Currently, I'm a bit of a main focus point at EBW, Elite Breakout Wrestling. They mostly run in the Poteet area. Sometimes they'll do some in San Antonio area. But they're a promotion that I didn't really have on my radar.
Okay.
Just, watching their start. It was just one of those I don't see myself there.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I continued to watch and just see how they're actually trying to make their product, worth something.
What did they do to make their product worth seeing something? What are some improvements
they just completely upped their production value.
Okay.
And then they started bringing in talent that, also just wanted to really have a platform to showcase what they can do. And I think that helped push the people that were already there.
Yeah.
Of course, it has a bad reputation in regards to how other wrestlers feel about it. Just because of it was I guess to use the term, I don't really like using the term, but it was like a backyard.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that, but I don't know if it's just on some land.
Mm-hmm. It looked like it was an actual backyard.
Okay.
And the production was pretty low. It was just kind of just somebody recording with their, just a bunch of friends getting together.
Yeah.
And just recording some stuff.
Yeah, you have to start somewhere.
Exactly. It was something you see on YouTube and whatever. It's whatever. But and they did it pretty quickly. They started progressing and really updating their production value and the talent, and that talent helping the talent that they had just elevated it even more, which really caught my eye and really made me think the way I feel about the business and the journey that I need to take, they're doing that, but in a the promotion is doing that. And I just, now I wish them the best, and I feel like they could really be one of the top promotions in San Antonio if they just keep pushing to promote and raise the production value and bring in more talent, and they could really be something.
I know there's a few places or venues are outdoors most of the time because it's, financially more capable for them to kind of budget in everything. But when you go into the shop, it's a little more, confined in. Okay. You have different, the place is very colorful in there with the lighting.
A lot of lights.
And we added some aesthetics to it we put the LED strip above the ring on the wood grain area. And
I did see that yesterday.
I added some lights to the entrance on there. I let Oscar just buy them off of me because I was putting them on there. I was like, we need something added to the entrance. And then so I've started doing graphics on the TVs. So that way each show has a graphic that's running on the TV at least. Or if we do like a rumble, it's like, okay, I'm going to build the clock with all the sound and the timers and everything.
Yeah, which I thought was really cool when I saw it. I was like, oh, see, like, putting some effort into it.
Yeah.
A lot of places are really comfortable in like, I think what we have works. But they don't want to like, well, what can we do to make it even better?
Right. It gets the crowd more invested when they see the numbers pop up.
Yes.
And then when you hear that ticking, it's like, boom.
Yeah, they get the countdown and...
Yeah, it keeps that energy going.
Exactly.
So every like 90 seconds, like, boom, it's going to it's going to pick up every 90 seconds. It's a crazy, long rush.
Yeah, who's next?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool thing about the all the little rumbles and everything. And we're going to have one out in the main area February 1st. They're downstairs in the Roanoke Mall. Is going to be in that concourse area kind of in front of JCPenney's.
I would say one of the first shows that the shop ever had was there in that spot. It was a rumble.
Yes. And Oscar told me that they haven't done it since because I don't know who it was. I don't know. Was it you that was going to take the bump off pretending to take a bump off the second balcony at the mall and the security freaked out and they kind of...
Yeah, most definitely wasn't me. I wouldn't do that. But I did hear that, yes, that somebody...
someone at Cobra knew. That's what Oscar said.
Someone at Cobra knew. That somebody was going to do it, and they made it seem like they were going to do it, but apparently they were not going to do it anyway. It was just kind of like a scare thing. But at the time, there was a viral video going around of somebody jumping from the second floor of the mall into the ring. There was a dive.
Not at Rolling Oaks, right?
It was at Rolling Oaks.
Okay.
There was a video that just went viral.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming they wanted to recreate that.
Right.
But, I mean,
So if Cobra knew that guy, is this guy maybe involved in Venom Inc. as well?
I doubt it, only because I don't know who it is. So that's the main thing. I mean, if it is somebody that's in Venom Inc., I didn't know it was them.
Yeah.
I wasn't even at the shop at the time. Was it like a few months later?
Yeah.
Maybe even a year later that I then showed up.
Is this the first time you revealed that you aligned with Cobra for Venom Inc.? Was it last night, or have you kind of...
We've been kind of just doing it around Texas.
We kind of just made it known for the wrestling shop fans, like, hey, this is where we stand right now.
Yep. We debuted it for the first time in San Antonio at Hybrid.
Okay.
There was a show going on, and we decided to, what better place to make our names known than right here at Hybrid. And, I would say it went well. But we were like, okay, well, what else? Who else could we take over?
Right.
So then we decided, well, what about the shop? We'll take over the shop.
Did you feel like Hybrid, man, is there like a different level of competition?
Most definitely.
When you go to Hybrid, because those are
most definitely
guys kind of getting streamlined into, very big places, hopefully,
I would
in
say
the near future.
The talent there at Hybrid definitely is like on another level because
Yeah.
I was able to show up to one of their trainings, and I plan on going at least once a week. Kind of check it out and really see what's going on. And they really like push themselves, and they're just there the whole time. There's no like just all right, we'll just everybody just do whatever you want, relax. It's like we need to get these fundamentals down, and we need to get you ready.
The crazy thing is, it's almost like Hybrid is a destination school for people that move here just to go to Hybrid.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the top schools that when you think San Antonio wrestling schools, that was definitely one of the top ones that were there. It's not one that I went to when I started.
Yeah, where did you start at?
I started and the people there wouldn't agree with it, of course, but I was trained by a man named Tito Sanchez on the south side of San Antonio. He ran a promotion called TNT Wrestling. They don't run anymore.
Okay.
Because he had passed.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if I can remember when. It was either 2020, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even before that. I'm not entirely sure. It's been a while.
Okay.
And he trained me. It was more like in the last few like months of his life though.
Okay.
So it was bittersweet. One of the last classes that he
right.
There's a few people that are there that will disagree, and like on their deathbed will say, no, he was not trained by him. But that's just,
So some people claim that you weren't trained by him?
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
There's a good group. There's a handful of people.
Why in the hell why is that debated?
They feel so strongly. They loved him so much that the way I had left the school, they felt as if I, stabbed him in the back. And that's why they just dislike me so much.
Why did you leave the school?
It wasn't my choice. It was just a matter of circumstance. It was, I guess, in a short, because I can go on and on and on of the whole story with that whole thing. But I guess to shorten it up, the little summary of it would be, I was told to go to a promotion by Tito.
Okay.
And it was supposed to connect the two promotions together. Mm-hmm. But they needed some of us to be over there so that we can kind of connect.
Like
and
a little talent exchange.
Really do it, yes.
Yeah.
And there was a match that was offered, and we accepted it, even though they had told us not to accept it. And I feel like it really helped us.
Yeah.
And by us, it's me and Red Davis.
Okay.
We both trained with Tito at the same time, and we both graduated, I guess, at the same time.
Okay.
But it was just one of those like, all right, well, if you do it, you're no longer here. And we're more confused, if anything, because we're like, this is helping because we're on your show and you have us on this show, and we're doing these crazy matches that are getting, the promotion started really picking up in regards to like fans. They were really like getting into it. And I was like, this is good because then they can come see us over here.
Right.
And it helps, but it was just that moment of like, if y'all do that, I don't want to see y'all anymore kind of thing. And it wasn't him that said that either. It was one of the people that were there, like his close people that were there.
Okay. When, I know it's not your first time you departed somewhere, and it wasn't probably on good terms.
Yeah.
Was that the case at the wrestling shop? It wasn't on good terms?
Well, I thought it was on a good mutual, like, separation of like, hey, this opportunity is being presented. Is this something that you think I should go for? And it was agreed that, to help elevate me and stuff and help me get to that next level, it was agreed.
Was it at Dog Pound?
Yeah, it was so that I can go to Dog Pound.
Now, when you go to Dog Pound, I've seen other wrestlers wrestle in different promotions, but still be able to wrestle or be at Dog Pound. Mm. Do they had any kind of circumstance or stipulation like, hey, you could come, but just don't wrestle at the shop?
It was brought up. I would say like that was the reason why I told Oscar that I'm going to probably have to vacate the Texas heavyweight and the tag team titles at the April 20th show, because they had wanted me to take some time away from the shop because they wanted to get me like TV ready.
Right. Yeah.
So I agreed to it. I was like, that sounds fine. And they're like, you can come back maybe like later on in the year.
Yeah.
But they assured me that I probably wouldn't want to, just because of where I would be in my career. And I still planned on coming back. Mm-hmm. But I guess at some point it kind of like, we just didn't connect like we used to. I think he maybe had felt a bit like, I guess, betrayed that I would choose something else, especially like at the time, because it was really picking up.
Yeah.
We had just started the faction Empire, and
Okay.
That one was picking up steam so fast. I never expected that group to get so popular so quick that I, pretty much just said, all right, that's it. And then I leave.
Same thing happened to Dill. He got kind of a proposal for NWA Texas.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, because he had to choose priorities, he had to pick that over the shop.
Yeah. Which, I mean, in any case, you would think is understandable.
But the thing is, I see Dill, or I've seen other wrestlers be part of Dog Pound, but they can wrestle at other places, like down in Laredo.
Yeah.
But for some reason, is it because the wrestling shop's in San Antonio?
It could be, especially now, since the NWA is doing its whole territory thing. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily know.
Like, do RCW guys wrestle in Dog Pound and vice versa?
I think that's like a school thing where like the schools don't want to work with other schools kind of thing.
Okay.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, so maybe you just want the locals, your local fans in the city to, for you, like, hey, if you're going to see this talent here in town, you're going to see them at Dog Pound.
Yeah.
But, down Laredo, Houston, or whatever, it doesn't really matter because it's a whole different crowd, and Dog Pound is not there trying to get their audience there.
Yeah, I can see that. But who knows? I mean, I wish I can have those like concrete facts of like, well, this is exactly why, the people aren't allowed to do the shop. Maybe it's a reputation.
What's the reputation?
I mean, I hear that people see the shop as, the shop. It's a toy store. It's a collectible shop.
Yeah.
It's the mall show. I hear it almost everywhere.
But you go in there, you look at the setup, you look at the presentation of, the lights, the ambiance, and then you go somewhere that maybe is out in the parking lot.
Yeah. It could be something that maybe their coaches embedded into their heads that like, no, I don't want you there because of the, just the way it looks. It could be a like money thing.
Yeah.
It could be like, oh, well, I don't want y'all working for anything less than this. And the shop's not going to dish out.
Right. Okay. That makes sense too.
Something like that.
It's like, why would my crowd pay to see you here at Dog Pound when they could see you for free on Thursday nights at the shop or whatever?
I guess I could see that too of like, like why would you pay for a ticket here when you can watch him over there for free?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess if your goal as a school is to make money.
Yeah.
But I feel like what you need is for your talent to be everywhere.
I feel like what the shop has over all the different places here in town where you can wrestle at is the ability to get casual fans.
Yeah.
Because in the mall, you're going to get people that pique the curiosity. You're going to come in, find out they run wrestling shows, and you're going to get new fans, and they're going to want to spend all this money, and get very invested, especially when they have like a family of kids. Mm-hmm. Gosh. And it's really a way to kind of build a following.
Yeah, I would say so too. Like in 2023, I would go out, I'd see what crowd we have.
Yeah.
And, by like midway through the match, I look again into the crowd and there's lines out the door, outside the windows watching.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, okay, look at how much attention we got just here. And you can't get that with like actual like wrestling promotions.
And it gets loud in there too.
It definitely does.
So it gets loud. You get that feeling in it. It's like a little mini arena kind of feel. I mean, I don't know. NXT and all these other studio things, they're kind of, they're of course bigger than a shop, but they're pretty small. Mm-hmm. When they're looking at the hard camera, there's like nothing over there, and they have like the studio audience kind of surrounding them on the other sides on there. But same thing in shop. We have like one spot where it's just the windows and
just windows and that exit door.
Yeah, right there. So is it a little difficult sometimes to kind of work around when you have to when you get a little bit involved outside the ring?
I think the hardest thing to work around is those pillars. Those big stone-looking pillars. Those are such a pain to work around.
I just want to move the ring a little bit over just to kind of fix that pillar issue.
I wish we could just knock down those pillars. I highly doubt that there's something that's really holding that thing up.
Yeah.
Because it blocks out so much of the ring. I've tried, like, while I was still there, trying to figure out, well, where can we put the ring in a different spot where everybody.
I think that if you just moved a ring a little bit, shifted over to that corner of the pillar, then you could put people on the side where the windows are.
Yeah.
Because you shift it over and you just move the counter area to the back.
I think it's because we always had the speakers there. We used to always have the speakers for the mics and the music over in that corner. We had all the weapons in that corner.
Yeah.
So it was always like fenced off,
right,
where nobody can get over there and mess with all that stuff. But I'm assuming that's the reason why it hasn't been moved.
Well, the shop is going to a new era in 2025.
Oh, most definitely. And if February 1st, like you said, it's going right there.
Yeah.
It's just in front of everybody. There is no like empty spot.
Yeah.
And I remember the pictures when they had that first show there. It was just loaded with people.
Yeah.
Surrounded the whole ring. Every single like balcony side was filled with people watching, and it made for like an amazing picture.
Yeah, the potential
exactly
of being a wrestler and be able to wrestle at a shop, and now the shop being able to kind of book that spot down there to have a bigger show. Mm-hmm. And it's so convenient. All you got to do is carry the ring downstairs. Exactly. It sucks carrying the ring, but it's better than loading up in a truck and driving and unloading.
Yep.
It's all out just downstairs from it.
I always think, like, how great would the shows have been if in 2023, when we were like peak shop, if we were having those shows downstairs with all those people. I couldn't imagine.
I would almost think that the mall would want to just let them do it because it would attract more people inside the mall.
Exactly.
That's always a challenge for malls anyways, trying to get foot traffic because people don't, go to malls as much anymore. But Roanoke's Mall has a niche now where they do a lot of collectible stores and anime things.
Events, just so many events that they have going on there.
Yeah, so I think, it would make sense to let them do it often. I guess it's just how often does Oscar want to break down the ring with, whoever the few that needs to help him and bring it down.
He used to get himself a little crew, a little like just, they're not even wrestlers, just a crew of people that are like, okay, we'll help you chair set up, help you all with the sound setup.
Yeah.
And if I need to move the ring, we move the ring, retighten the ropes, refix that board that keeps coming up.
Those are like the apprentice.
Yeah.
It's a way to get into. It's a way to kind of get involved in the business.
Exactly.
You gotta just go in there and be an apprentice and help out with the, the basic things that helps makes the show run. Mm-hmm. On there, I just started as a photographer. I took pictures at a show, and then I asked, hey, can I bring my camera in there? I know y'all have a photographer. Mm-hmm. It was an APW show actually at the time.
Okay.
And then they just wanted me to do another show, and I kind of kept doing that. Threw some ideas. Hey, let's do some story. Let's do some segments and put them on social media. So there's a story for people to follow.
Yep.
And we kind of went from there. Yeah, I'm sure you got to see Cobra Curb Stomp Oscar.
Yes, I did get to see that.
Yeah.
I got to see that one. I got to see where Cobra got attacked. I got to see just the Benny segment with Oscar. I got to see all that stuff.
Yeah, on the Wrestling Shops TX YouTube page, I have the full, like, kind of more of a cinematic cut of the Cobra one with the added suspense music and everything. To kind of add layers to it.
And I feel like that's what's missing just in general for, just all these promotions and shows that are going on. They're not putting enough on socials in terms of like cinematics and just promos, and they'll probably just ask a guy, hey, send in a promo for your match coming up, but that's not gonna really bring the people. You gotta have that entertainment factor.
People, like, if anyone wants to send me a promo in on a phone, what I'm going to do is, of course, I have to dress it up. I'm going to do some edits and cuts to make it, to enhance it and maybe hide whatever, the background as much as I can if it's not something that I think that will help sell the segment on there. But, I like, when we have the opportunity, I like to film segments or capture something unexpected happen, like Cobra coming in and, curb stomping Oscar after getting what he wanted. I don't even know if he really got what he wanted.
I don't think he did.
He got the Texas War and won that at least.
Yeah, he got something. But
Why weren't you at Texas War? How come you weren't on Team Cobra?
Well, I was at EVW. I was trying to take away. Oh no, Texas War was when I was facing Benny. Yeah.
Benny was.
No, I wasn't facing Benny. When was that? What was the date?
That was.
I know we're both bad with dates, but.
This was in November.
November.
It was November 15th.
Who was I facing in November? Chaos was in y'all's match, right?
Yeah, Saturday night, yeah. And Chaos.
I was at EVW.
Yeah. Chaos got his mask snatched off his head and he ran away.
I was facing Red.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I was facing Red. And the winner got to face Prince Pretty at the following show for the title.
Okay.
That's what I remember. I wanted to do both, don't get me wrong. I would have loved to do both shows, but just the distance is crazy.
Yeah.
And at that time, traffic, it's not happening.
Right.
The shows were just so close time-wise that it just was not going to happen.
Yeah, the Texas War was kind of, not to toot my own horn, it was actually my idea, the concept of it. I know we don't have a War Games cage or double ring, but...
Maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe one day. But a way to kind of get that November Survivor Series War Games feel. Like, I feel like November is always like the team, it's like a team, battle. Who's the best of, factions.
I don't think the shop had that. Like, since they started, I don't think they've had a like Survivor Series type matchup, especially the caliber of what it was with Benny and Elijah's teams.
Yeah, so I was like, the crowd really loved the countdown timer. I was like, you can do the same thing again with the, War Game style type of setup, and that's what we did on there. But, difference is no cage, and it was kind of, false count submission anywhere.
Who knows, maybe 2025, cage?
Hey, we're
double
working.
Ring?
Hey, well, I don't know about double rings.
That's possible.
It would have to be matching rings. It couldn't be like a 18 by 18.
Yeah, it couldn't have
and
like
a 16 by 16.
Can't have a low boy and then a full
size.
size.
Yeah, I don't think that would work without
It'd
major
be kind of cool, though.
alterations done to it.
Like imagine like throwing somebody out of the big ring and they fall into the lower ring. It's almost like hitting the floor.
Maybe that's something.
Maybe like it elevates. Like you have ground floor and it moves just a little bit up for first ring, and then you have main ring.
Yeah.
Kind of and that's where you would hang like maybe a belt or something in the main ring.
In the main ring.
Yep.
You had to do it out. You couldn't do it inside the shop.
Of course you had to do it, yeah.
Outside, you had to do it outside. Maybe somewhere over by the first floor in a mall at Rolling Oaks.
Get like a beam going across each side, and it comes down with the belt. Maybe have a couple of our guys, of course, watching.
That's going to be kind of challenging to put something up without having to get some kind of rig.
I'm sure.
They're not going to let you jerry rig something, like put a long pole across the balconies. And
it would be cool, though.
Yeah. Without, because of liability and everything will have to be professionally rigged, unfortunately, when it comes to, how much it'll cost.
Yeah, I'm sure it would cost a pretty penny for sure.
So we're going to take our last break here. In Act 3, I really want to see and hear what's on your mind. I want you to speak your mind. And I'm going to ask you some questions. Maybe some things you hold in for a long time because you're kind of keep it to yourself kind of guy. But, can't hold in everything without letting something out. Something has to give or, you're going to implode on yourself.
Yeah, I'll try to keep a level head, but,
Yeah, we don't want you to implode. We want you to explode into this business and coming back to the shop and really letting everyone know who Aries Alexander is.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back. We're back for the final act, Act 3, with Aries Alexander.
The best.
What makes Aries Alexander next level?
Not the best.
The best.
Not just the best wrestler. Not just the best on the mic. I could even be a commentary. I could be the best at setting up the ring. I could be the best playing basketball on the streets. I am the best, period.
Now, does that put a target on your back?
I think since day one, I've had a target on my back. Even when I wasn't the best, period. Even when I wasn't Aries Alexander, I've had a target on my back since day one.
You feel that people on both ends, on top and on the bottom, try to bring you down?
Most definitely. You have people at the top that are always trying to keep you from getting to where they are.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid that once you get there, you're taking that spot. And the people below you are just jealous.
They're trying to anchor you down.
They're trying to keep you at their level.
Yeah. Do you give any time of day to anyone that's maybe at a certain position on the card or in the promotion an opportunity to get in a ring with you and prove themselves?
No, I'm never opposed to it. I never have a problem with beating everybody on the card. I don't have a problem with beating anybody who even steps across the ring from me. So if they really want to lose that bad, I'm always up for it.
Do you feel like you're doing them a favor then?
Almost definitely. Making them famous.
Yeah. So why would you be very, hey, I'm going to do this? Why are you so willing to do that if you're doing them a favor?
Because I'm not a bad guy. Like, everybody thinks that just because I say these things, that I talk so highly of myself, that I'm booed all the time, that I'm this bad guy. But I'm not. I'm actually a very nice guy. I give people the opportunity to become main event players. I give the crowd a reason to be there at the shop, and not even just the shop, just at any place that I'm booked at.
And let me ask you this, okay? What has that done for you, being the nice guy? Do people welcome it, or do they take advantage of it and, the rest is history, basically?
I think people tend to take advantage of it because then you have people like Ethan who think they can say whatever they want and not have any consequences. His actions that he just did at this past Thursday show, because I don't know when this will air, but right now it's Friday. This happened just last
At Holiday
night.
Havoc.
At Holiday Havoc. Just happened last night.
Yes.
I wonder if he really thought about what he was going to say before he said it, because
I think there's a hint of some type of frustration.
that could be it. He's just very upset that throwing the title on him wasn't enough to make him a star.
Yeah. And he's a champion. He wants people to hear loud and clear. He's kind of doing the beat the chest alpha.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
Especially when there's someone else, showing up new to the shop that was also someone as such that dominated. Mm-hmm.
Someone that, like I said, being a nice guy, allowed people to have the opportunity to become champion once I left. Gave the opportunity for these new guys to come in here and really make themselves known. But I've been watching, and they haven't done anything with it. These champions haven't done anything.
What are they supposed to do?
Prove that there's somebody.
What did they need to do that's different from you?
They need to become the best, and that's not going to happen.
The best. So at everything.
At everything.
So if they're not you, they're not the best.
Exactly.
On default, if they're not you, they're not the best.
Hell, even me at 65% is still better than their 110%. And I'll stand on that any day of the week. I can fully, completely shatter my leg tomorrow, and I will stand on it that I am still better than anybody who would be across the ring from me.
Yeah. Who do you think measures up to you there at the shop?
I would say probably the only person that's earned my respect, and that's right there, my fellow partner in crime, if you want to call it.
Cobra.
I would say he's the only person that could really measure up. He's the only person that's really helped me see that there is another person out there that's willing to do what it takes to make it to the top.
Is he helping you kind of break out of that comfort shell that you're in?
I would say so. There is a bit of a shell of I feel like I only am a San Antonio, Laredo guy. And this is helping me now become a Texas guy.
A Texas wrestler.
Yep.
And then in the future,
and then, who knows?
Okay, in about, let's say 5 years. How old will you be in 5 years?
Like 31.
31. Where do you see yourself when in this business?
Tell you where I'd like to see myself.
Where?
And it's on TV.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't even say 5 years from now. I would say that I need to see that. I will force myself to make sure that that happens within the next 2 years. That I'm on a TV at least once.
What are you thinking
And
for promotions?
It could be either or.
Either
AEW or WWE. Anywhere else is cool and all.
TNA too?
That's cool and all. But I'm trying to be on one of the number one platforms in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that I'm on that platform at least one time.
So your critics or former opponents might say that you just are too nice and you'll never get there because you don't have what it takes
Exactly.
to be vicious and ruthless to get to the top. If you get to the top, let's say you become a president of the United States, you don't get to the top with your hands clean. There's always blood on your hands. You have to compromise. You have to squander those pesky things that get in your way. Sometimes you have to do bad in order to do good.
Exactly. And I've always been the guy that needs to do whatever it takes to make sure that I get to the top. And now that I feel like that initial glass ceiling is gone, there's now a new ceiling that's just made of titanium that I need to make sure I break through. And I will do anything it takes to make sure that I get through that ceiling.
What title do you want to go for first at the shop?
At the shop, there are 2 championships that decided to show up when I left. And I would definitely like to see how I look with those tag titles. But I would love even more to knock Red off of his little pedestal and hold that Thursday world title that I've never even been able to hold. I'd love to beat Benny again because he has a history of losing to me.
What if things are different this time? He could have honed his craft.
He could have. I haven't seen it. Like I said, I watched the product. He's the same guy. Benny is the same person that he was when I was pinning his shoulders to the mat in 2023. He's the same guy that was going for that Lone Star Championship that just could not grab it, and it took a fatal 4-way ladder match for him to achieve that goal.
Now, ironically, he won a ladder match last night.
I guess that's just his bread and butter then, ladder matches, because he can't pin anybody. You can't pin their shoulders down to the mat in a championship quality. Like, in a main event scene where it comes down to, like, me, or Cobra, even Red, Benny he doesn't measure up. He hasn't found what it takes to really be a champion and what it means to be a main event player.
So who's the real main champ of the shop? Who's the face of the shop right now based on their merits and their title?
I would say based off their merits and title, that's a difficult one to answer because Red hasn't had many defenses.
You say Benny is the face of the shop right now?
I guess by default. By tenure and just...
He has the title.
I guess he has.
He has the original.
But anybody can hold a title. I feel like the title made Benny. I don't think Benny made the title on that one. And
he still has it. It's been, since April?
But I can't, off my hand, I can't think of 3 people that he's defended against that are main event quality, challengers. I haven't seen him defended against Red. I haven't seen him defended against Cobra. And he damn sure hasn't defended it against me because he'd lose.
But even all of this, you rather go up against Red first because you haven't had that title.
Yep. He walked in January of 2024 when I was slowly starting to decline on my main status of 7 belts. I was slowly dwindling. The multi-man matches where people pin somebody else.
Right.
Was getting the better of me. So Red decided, I'm going to try to take advantage and try to take one of his championships and failed 3 times in a row. And of course, it took another multi-man ladder match for me to lose a championship again. And that's the last you saw of me.
Yeah. So you're coming into the shop. Obviously, you don't have a title right now. But in the past, you had different merits.
Yes.
What kind of merit or merits brings you into that main event scene right away when returning to the shop? Do you consider yourself a main eventer?
Oh, most definitely.
So what kind of merit do you have?
I have...
on paper. Boom, you've done this and this and this and this that other guys can't say they did.
I have so many firsts that people, of course, won't be able to say. Of course, these new champions can say they're the first because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
We have that I'm the first person to win the Lone Star Rumble, to win the Lone Star Championship. The first person to win the cash-in briefcase and cash in that same night and become the first Triple Crown champion, then
Do you consider that a victory still, even cashing
cash
in?
in. It's all about timing. It's all about knowing when to strike. And like I said, I will
Do you
do
feel like
anything.
you earn that belt when you pin someone after? Because you obviously take advantage of it when they're not at their full strength, or
I mean, I guess you can say that. I just came off of a grueling cash-in ladder match.
so you felt like things were even.
I would say so. He walked in. He just walked in right after to, just normal clothes, thinking that he was safe,
Yeah.
holding all of his belts, talking about how great he was, and wishing everybody to leave. Y'all are good to leave.
Yeah.
And all this other stuff, and just forgot that
Who do you cash in on?
Oscar.
Oscar.
Yeah, he was holding the Texas heavyweight and the United States championship at the time, and he just figured, this ladder match just happened. For the cash-in briefcase, I'm just gonna walk on in there and think that
Yeah.
I'm fine. But I decided now's the time,
Yeah, it's time to cash in and send home.
and I felt
Everyone.
like at that time, my 30% was much better than his 100%, and I was correct.
Yeah.
Took him out instantly, one move, and he was done.
Where are you at percentage wise now?
Right
with
now,
your
I
health?
would say I'm at about a good 70.
70%?
Yeah, this knee's pretty banged up, but yet I still beat Big Time Rod
Okay.
with a messed up knee. Just imagine what I can do if I'm at 100%.
Yeah. When you think you're going to be there?
Who knows? I take every day of just trying to make sure that I push it and rest it just as much to make sure it's fully healed without trying to do more damage.
Yeah.
So who knows? But every day is progressing to get better and better. So I guess time will tell.
So when it comes to speaking your mind, what is something that you've been wanting to get off your chest and just say it out there for everyone to hear it? Because when there's conflict, what helps people understand why there's a conflict is the clarity.
Mm-hmm. I feel as if the crowd really needs to understand, where I'm coming from here. The people they just see me and I say things and they assume that, oh, well, he's just, he's super cocky. He's just all in himself. But what they don't understand is that, I was made this way. I didn't just wake up one day and decide, oh, I'm just going to hate everybody. No, there's so much that went into it that caused what you saw in 2023 and 2024. And I think people at the shop are starting to forget that I'm the person that ran that place. And now that I'm back, it's all over for them.
When we're saying the people in the crowd, are we talking about people?
We're talking about the fans.
We're talking about
the people in the
everywhere
back.
you work at?
We're talking everywhere. I was held down for a little bit, for a brief hiatus of what Aries Alexander truly was. And now that the hiatus is over, it's time to really show why I'm the best.
And then you're declaring that, hey, you should be a number one contender for
Personally, I
title?
think I should be the number one contender for every single title in Texas. Just
guys are going to say, hey, we've been here. We've been grinding out. We've been showing up Saturdays, Thursdays, driving here. Yeah. And this guy comes off the street, returns, arms wide open, and gets elevated right to the top.
I mean, they can feel that way all they want without doing the research. That's the thing. If it's anywhere else, like let's say it's anywhere else, sure, I can see them being a little upset that the better man just kind of walked in and they would believe he was handed those opportunities. But they don't understand that maybe the person giving them the opportunities has been watching what this guy's been doing. And it's not my fault that the people that are upset didn't do their research. They think that I'm just some guy. They think that, he's just untrained, that he's just going to walk up in here and take everything because he's like friends with someone, or they feel like, they feel as if they're owed so much that nobody else is allowed to come in and do exactly what they just did.
So do you think you'll do more than what they just did if you're the best?
Exactly. I'll do more than what they could do. I've already done it before. One place, like the shop, for example. I've done it one place. I could do it everywhere.
Can you beat someone with your arm time behind your back?
It's only one way to find out, but I can guarantee you.
Would you open challenge to see if anyone's willing, that's capable of doing that?
I'll do it. One hand tied behind my back.
Yeah.
Hell, even both hands tied behind my back. We'll see what happens.
You're that confident.
I'm that confident that you can throw anybody in there with me, and they're not going to walk out the same way they walked in.
How are they going to walk out then? What's going to be different?
Probably not at all. That's the thing. When it comes to Aries, they can guarantee that, well, one of two things, of course. They can guarantee that they're for sure going to be in the top spot with me, and that they're also going to lose.
Have you, what's the highest profile wrestler you've been in a ring with?
I would say I want to say like match was Chase Owens.
Chase Owens, okay.
Yeah, the member of the Bullet Club in New Japan.
Oh, cool. Where was that at?
That was at the shop.
Okay.
I defended my Texas heavyweight title against him successfully.
You beat the guy that was in the Bullet Club.
Exactly. And, I mean, high profile now, I would say I was in the ring with Jacob Fatu.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, when I was laying the boots on him at GCWA in Corpus.
Okay. How'd that turn out?
Well, the numbers game. Zilla came in there.
And we're talking about guys that are in the new bloodline, but Zilla probably will be coming, joining it too. We're talking about guys that are in that main event spot in WWE who you're getting in a ring with. Is that what kind of gives you that confidence? Like, I'm the best. If I can hang with them, the guys here don't have a chance.
Exactly. Like I said, all I need is the opportunity. It doesn't matter who it is. You can put me against John Cena tomorrow, and I will prove why I'm the best and why I can keep up with somebody of that caliber.
And you feel like there's nothing holding you back now to be your best?
Well, other than my knee holding me back at the moment, it's still not enough to really hold down.
What can we expect from you in 2025?
2025. It's already right around the corner.
Yes. What are you bringing in 2025, especially a new era at the shop? What are you going to do? What are you declaring?
Don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, of course. But I want to say that all I can say is Aries is back. That's all I can say. And if they don't know what that means, they can go do their homework. 2025, you can just call it 2023. I'm coming back to take what I felt as if I shouldn't have lost. I definitely want to take back stuff that I never lost. But not just the shop. I want to take over Texas. And then once Texas is done, I want to take over the entire world.
Yeah, well, we'll see. How can your fans, whatever fans you have left after this podcast, keep up with you on this journey? How can they follow you on social media?
They can check out my Facebook, Instagram, and X with Aries Alexander on Facebook, Aries Alexander Wrestling on Instagram. X is just, I believe it's Aries Alexander 98.
Okay.
And on YouTube, it's just.
Can they be expecting to see more of you being present online? And
almost definitely. Like I'm always doing stuff on my Instagram. I don't do as much on my Facebook. I kind of just keep up with everything that's going on Facebook.
Yeah, that's fine.
Instagram, it's all highlights, matches coming up, promos, just everything that's going on.
All right, so you know how to keep up with them for this journey, and we'll see what 2025 brings Aries Alexander to the shop and also the Texas independent wrestling scene.